This is Robert Jamieson. Welcome to our first online chess lesson for term 4. I hope you've all had a good break in the holidays and played a bit of chess or studied some books and stuff. Anyway, we're back into the swing of it today. So, I've set you a little puzzle. I'm not sure anyone's solved it yet, so I don't have anyone with me here in the chess shop today, so I'll be giving you each a go to help me as we go through the afternoon. Maybe I'll start with Joey. You there, Joey?
Yeah, hello.
Hi. Do you reckon you solved the puzzle or not?
Don't think so.
Okay. All right. So let's have a look at it, see if we can work it out logically. All right. So Black's just moved. I think he's probably played Rook takes F3 or something like that. So what's the first thing we should ask ourselves?
What are they threatening?
Yes, what are they threatening? So what is Black threatening?
Rook takes H3 check.
Yeah. Some of you guys out there said, oh goody, I can play pawn to E8 equals queen, but you've ignored what the other guy is threatening. So he's threatening Rook takes H3, G takes, Queen takes H3, then we have to put the queen in the way and it's checkmate. So it looks like whilst Black can't stop that pawn from queening, he has a really powerful threat. Now, one of you suggested G takes F3, but that doesn't help. We just Queen H3. We've still got a checkmate. So have you got any idea, Joey? What could we do?
The only forceful move I could see was maybe E8 equals knight check.
Yep, okay, E8 equals knight. We'll just have to imagine that's a knight. Now I'm going to put my king on G8. Now I think you then suggested a knight F6 check. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep. All right. I would just go to G to F7 then. And I'm not sure that you're doing anything to stop my Rook takes H3.
No.
So that was close. Any other ideas? It's got to be pretty forceful because I'm threatening a check next move. Derek had an interesting idea. Do you have any other ideas, Joey?
I can't see anything at the moment. Maybe Rook E3 or something? No.
No. I'll tell you what Derek's idea. Let's have a look at that. Derek said Rook E2. So he's trying to cover that H2 square. So what would Black do here, do you think? Would he still take on H3 or has he got something better?
Maybe Bishop E3?
Bishop E3, no, I can just take it with the Rook, can't I? And then I'm okay.
Oh, yep, sure.
What if he does Rook H3, pawn takes Rook, Queen takes pawn check. So now we've only got a Queen and a Bishop left. So White would have to put the Rook on H2. So is that going to be a win for White or what?
No.
How can Black save the game?
Queen takes H2 check.
Good. Hang on. Queen takes Queen. Bishop takes Queen and he'll get a new Queen on E8.
Oh yeah, so
Another idea?
Bishop takes H2 or
King
F7. King F7.
No, well our Queen's attacked. He just played Rook take H2. What we can do, I think we can play Queen F3 check. So let's say he blocks it with the Queen. Then we can zoom down to D1 check. He blocks it with the Queen. We go back. He blocks it with the Rook. We can check him on H5. So I think we've got perpetual check on the white square. So that might be a way to get a draw. All right, but White has a brilliant move which wins. And no one has found it yet. All right, Joey. So we know what he's threatening. He's going to play Rook H3 check. But up our sleeve, we've got the fact we can get a new queen if we have time, pawn to e8. So all we've got to do is somehow stop that checkmate.
Um,
You got any ideas? Queen where?
H2.
Yes! Well done, well done. Queen H, Brijesh saw it as well. Queen H2, so that's the move that Boris Spassky played, saying, take me. So now what can poor old black do? His rook's attacked, we're threatening to get a queen. So if he goes, bishop takes queen, we go pawn to e8, get a new queen, and we're now threatening queen f8 mate. Or we could even just take the bishop. And black hasn't got any sacrifices anymore because that bishop of his is covering all the checks. So what do you think of that puzzle? Pretty good?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting puzzle. And you'd probably have to be someone like Boris Spassky to work it out. All right, thanks, Joey. I'll give someone else a go. All right, let's start with Brijesh, maybe. You there, Brijesh? Brijesh, talk to me. How are you tonight?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I can hear you better now.
Yep,
That's good. Get nice and close to the microphone. All right, now today I'm going to show you a game from the Box Hill Open, which was played last week between Luke Lai, who's a really strong player. He's a FIDE master about 2,300-ish, and Milik Vukovic, who's just an average club player. I guess he's about 1,500 or so. So I wanted to show you the difference in understanding between two players where there's 800 points gap. And in particular, there's a theme to this game. So let me ask you a question. It's all about bishops and pawns. So if you only had one bishop, Brijesh, let's say a dark squared bishop, like on F4 or somewhere,
Yeah.
would you be wanting to put your pawns on the same colour as the bishop so the bishop can protect them and they can protect the bishop and it's all nice and safe? Or would you want to put your pawns on the opposite colour to the bishop so that they're complementing? Now, before you answer, let's get everyone to decide for themselves and type in on the question. So you have one bishop left. So what I want you to do is type, do you want the same colour pawns or the opposite colour pawns? So everyone type in what they think, and we'll see if people understand what's happening. I've got 5 responses so far. Anyone else want to have a go? Most people are going opposite. Sam's going the same. What do you think, Brijesh? You want to go the same or go the opposite colour?
Probably opposite so the bishop can move around.
Yes, that's exactly right. So the basic rule of thumb is, probably applies 90% of the time, if you have one bishop only, then you try and put your pawns on the opposite colour to the bishop so that they're like complementing each other. Your pawns might cover the black squares and the bishop will cover the white squares. So that's the way it should be 90% of the time. Maybe if you're in an ending and you're trying to draw, you could set up a blockade with your bishop protecting your pawns. That would probably be one of the few times where you want to have the pawns on the same colour. Now in today's game, I'm going to show you how this works because I don't think white understands about putting his pawns on the opposite colour to the bishop, whereas black does in today's game. So I'll show you how it works. So let's get started. So Vukovic is white and he goes d4. Knight f6 from Luke, c4, e6. Do you know what opening this is, Brijesh?
Is it Nimzo Indian?
Nimzo Indian coming up, that's right. So white goes knight c3 and then black ends it with bishop b4. All right. Do you reckon this is a good pin or a bad pin? What's the idea of the pin?
To pin the knight down so the knight can't take anything back.
Yes, it certainly stopped the knight from moving. Now, is it a good pin or a bad pin? So, for instance, if I just said to you now, A3,
Yep.
go away, take my knight, what would you do?
Take the knight.
All right. Now, would that be good, bad, okay? What do you think?
Okay, because white's pawns are a bit messed up.
Yeah, Black's given up one of his bishops, but as you say, he stuffed up White's pawns. White's got double pawn, isolated pawn, that sort of thing. So it's probably going to be an okay pin if he can get those double pawns. So what's an idea for White that could stop the pawns being doubled?
Bishop d2.
Yep, bishop d2. All right. Black now plays castle. And White says, all right, you can't double my pawns now, so I'm going to put the question to your bishop, a3. All right. What do you reckon we should do? Should we take the knight, or should we move our bishop back and keep control of the dark squares?
Move our bishop back.
You move it back. So then you've given him like a free move or two, haven't you? You've gone out once, and then you've gone back again. So you've made two moves with the same piece. But you'd prefer to keep your bishop and go back?
Yeah.
All right, let's put it to the vote, everyone. Do we go back or do we take the knight? What do you think? If you were Black, would you take that knight? Because he can now take back with the bishop and he won't have the double pawns. Or do we go back and save our bishop? So type in on the questions, take or back. So Thomas and Callum are taking, Sam's going back, Maha's taking, Benji's taking.
Yeah, actually, I think you should take, because it's going to just go back to the same square it came back from.
Yeah. So you should take. All right, take. All right, now, here's the killer question. So most of you said take, so that was good. So now we've only got one bishop. White's got the two bishops. Black's go. Black's a bit ahead in development. He's castled and made his king safe, but White's got more space in the centre. All right, everyone have a think. So we're Black. It's our go. Type in what move you would play for Black here. I showed this game to Gary Lynn, my top student, earlier this afternoon, and he got the wrong answer, so I'll see if you guys can do better. So Joey's looking at b6. Daniel's looking at knight c6. Thomas looking at d5. Sam's looking at d5. So we've got three different moves. Maha's saying develop. Derek's saying g3, but it's Black's go, Derek. What do you think, Bridget? You like any of those moves, or you have a different move?
I might want to go with d5 or knight c6. Or just
oh yeah, d5, all right. Knight c6, right.
Or just rook e8.
Okay. Now, if let's say you went d5, what colour is your bishop?
On white.
White squares. And what do you put your pawns on?
Black.
But you've got them on white. d5, e6, they're white. So your bishop's blocked in, isn't it?
Yeah, so we need to put it on a white.
Yeah. So that would be wrong. Now, none of you have got the right move here. Black realises he's given up the two bishops and he doesn't want White to dominate all the dark squares, so the move he plays is knight e4. So he's saying, I'm going to renew my attack on that bishop, try and double your pawns, and I'm not going to let you have the two bishops. You understand that now, Bridges? That looks like a pretty good move?
Yeah, I was thinking of it, but it looked kind of weird because you could just get attacked again.
Yeah, so if he did something different, if he did, let's say, did d6 or something, White could either play maybe queen c2 or even f3, and then the knight can't come in and get the bishop. So he's really got to do it straight away if he's going to do it. So knight e4. So White protects it with rook c1. All right. Black's go. Let's have another go now. All right, Black to play. Guys, type in what move you think Black should play here. So Maha's going knight takes c3. Derek's going b6. Everyone else is thinking hard. Thomas is going queen g5. Oh, Thomas, we don't want to bring our queen out early. That'll be terrible. Daniel's going d5. Callum's going knight c6. All right, Bridges, they need your help. What do you reckon you should do?
Probably keep the active knight and wait for them to chase you, then take it.
Yeah, because is that bishop going anywhere where we can't take it?
No.
Not really. It could go to b4, but we just play d6 and then we hit it with a5 and we end up winning it anyway, I think. Right, so what are we going to do then? Think about your pawns.
D6?
Could do d6, but the move he actually chose, he goes b6. So that's what Sam and Derek said. But the main thing to remember is black is going to try and put his pawns on the black squares, so his bishop's not going to bump into them.
Oh,
Right.
so when he puts the bishop on b7, he's going to go c5.
Yeah, he's probably going to go c5. So let's have a look, see what happens. White goes knight f3. And in fact, this move, black's going c5, putting his pawn on the black square and getting a little bit of a stake in the center. White goes e3. Now, what do you think black should do here, British?
Bishop b7?
Yeah, I think I'd go bishop b7. I think Luke makes a little mistake. He takes the bishop. We want to take the bishop, but the general rule is we wait till, if the bishop can't run away, we wait till we're forced. So like if he played bishop d3 or something, attacking our knight, maybe then we'd take the bishop. So maybe just a little mistake taking the bishop straight away. Rook takes. All right, if black has a pawn move now, what pawn move do you reckon he'd make, Rajesh?
d5?
d5?
Yeah.
What's good about d5?
Challenging the center.
Right. But isn't that going to activate his rook, like he'd probably play c takes d5 or something? Hang on. And then, like he's got a threat to take this pawn here, and his rook's now on a half-open file. I think you've sort of opened it up for his rook. Now let's go back. Remember, what colour do we want to put our pawns on?
Black, so d6.
Yeah, so d6, not d5, d6. See, so gradually he's putting his pawns on the opposite colour to his bishop. All right. Let's see what people think now. What should white do? White's move, have a think, type in the question. What do you reckon would be a good move for white? Daniel's going bishop d3. Thomas is going b4. Joey wants to take the c pawn. Maha wants to play d5. Derek wants g3. Oh, I think I've got 5 different moves there. Liam wants bishop d3. What do you reckon, Bridges? What do you like?
I have 2 moves. I kind of like b4, but black can play a5, I think.
Yeah, but b4, that's like you're attacking and opening up the game, but have a look,
Yeah.
You haven't castled yet. It's going to take you 2 moves to castle, so you're attacking too early. Yeah, so b4
probably,
is bad.
or just go with either bishop e2 or bishop d3.
Yeah, that'd probably be all right. All right, I'll move on and give someone else a go. So thanks, Brigesh. Let's see if Daniel will talk to me. Can you hear me, Daniel? Hello, Daniel.
Yes.
Say something. How are you tonight? Say well. How are you? Daniel, talk to me. No, he's gone. Dear oh dear. We've got one word. All right, so what about Derek? You there, Derek?
Yes.
Yes. So you like G3, did you?
Yes.
Tell me why you like g3.
You can fence it as a bishop.
Okay, it's possible, but your bishop can already get out on e2 or d3, so it's got quite a good spot it can go to already. So it's maybe a little bit slow. I'll show you what White played. White played d5 to gain a bit more space. Now, do you like that, or that's a bad move, you think?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me
I'm
now?
a bit worried.
Okay, all right, never mind. All right, well, thanks. I'll move on and see if I can get someone else. Sorry you can't hear me. All right, let's try Oliver. Oliver, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oliver. Yes. What do you think of d5? Would that be a good move or a bad move, you think?
It's not too bad, but yeah, it's not too bad.
All right, what's the bad part about it?
If you don't, if black doesn't take, you could just go e5 and get more of the center.
Yes, exactly right. Well, d5 gives white a bit more space, but black just pushes past. And now have a look at white's pawns. So he's got his d5 pawn and his c4 pawn on white squares, same as his bishop. Whereas good old black, he's now got 4 pawns on black, 5 pawns even if you count that one, on the opposite colour to his bishop. So I'm a bit worried about white's control of the dark squares soon. So I reckon d5 was a little bit of a boo-boo. All right, let's see what white does now. He does e4, so he's put another pawn on the white squares. So the trouble with that is, look at these squares. So like d4 and f4, they're black squares, and white's bishop can't contest them. So white's got to be very careful he doesn't sort of lose control of the dark squares. All right, what do you reckon black should do now, Oliver? White's just played e4. Any move appeal? Develop a piece or pawn, or what would you like to do?
I'm not quite sure. But
All right.
the only developing move I could really see which was sort of good was knight d7.
Yeah, we could go knight d7, but the question is where's it going after that? It could go to f6 to attack the e-pawn, but it's still not a really good spot. We need a bit of help then from the guys. So Oliver's not quite sure what he should do. He suggested knight d7. What do you guys like? We've got Thomas going h6. Joey's going f5. Anyone else got any ideas? h6, f5, knight d7. Maha says develop the bishop. I guess you could put it on g4 and attack the knight. What do you think, Oliver? Any of those moves appeal? h6, f5, bishop g4.
Yeah, I reckon bishop g4 is a good one here.
All right. Now the trouble is, if we go bishop g4 and swap for that knight, we're losing our control of the white squares. So we might end up with control of the black squares, and he'll have control of the white squares. It'll be even Steven. So the best move is probably what Luke played. He played f5. Now, most of you guys will remember I often say one of the things we're trying to do is get the 2 pawns side by side after the opening move so we can get play. We can either swap or push, and we can get our rook into the game. So f5 is a pretty good move, I think. Okay, let's see what happens now. He goes bishop d3. So maybe he's threatening to take on f5 and swap his bad bishop for our good bishop. All right, what would you like to do now, Oliver? If he's threatening to take our f4, what do you think? Whoops, hang on, I've got the wrong thing. Get rid of that. You could go f4. I might be a little bit worried that he might end up castling queenside, where he's fairly safe and he's got more space. So we're trying to attack him on the king side, but his king wouldn't be there. Any other idea?
You could take on e4.
Could take, but then his bishop is now sort of opened up and on a fairly good spot. So that would help his bishop. I'll show you what he did. He did an interesting move. He did g6. So that means if white takes, black will just take back, and black will still have the 2 pawns side by side, and he would be threatening pawn up to e4. The only disadvantage of that is that he's opened up his king a little bit, so his king's a little bit airier than it was before. But g6, probably a good move. All right, now white goes queen d2. So now, because he hasn't got a dark square, bishop is controlling some of the dark squares. So that's probably a good move. All right, what are we going to do now, Oliver? What can black do to develop?
Probably.
Bishop or the knight? What do you think?
Maybe knight.
Yeah, knight. Because now the knight, it can probably go to f6. I've got the wrong thing again. The knight can probably go to f6, and it's behind the pawns now, and it's putting more pressure on e4, so that would be quite a good spot for the knight. So knight d7, good move. He goes up to h6. What do you think he's up to there? What's his plan?
I think he's trying to make the king weaker.
Yeah, he's trying to attack us on the king side. So the question is this a good attack or a bad attack? What can black do? So we need a good move here for black. So everyone put your thinking cap on and type in what do you reckon black should do here. White's maybe threatening knight g5 and h4, h5. Now king's starting to look a little bit hairy. So what can black do? Well, Callum's made a good point. You can't cast the queen side because you've moved the rook. Well spotted, Callum. Maybe you could move your king across by hand and do it that way. Right, Joey's looking at knight f6. Looks like a pretty good move. Maha wants queen e7, bringing the queen across to defend. Not too bad. Anyone else got an idea? We've got 2 reasonably good moves so far. Callum likes f4. Liam likes knight f6. All right, Oliver, so we've got 3 moves. Knight f6, queen e7, f4. Which one do you like?
I reckon knight f6 is a good one because it'll be tricky to move because most of the pawns are on the white squares and black's pawns are blocking them. So yeah, knight f6.
Yeah, knight f6 is okay, I think. I think Luke plays a safer move here. He goes for f4. So the idea is if you're being attacked, you want to block the position to keep the attacking pieces out. So now if you look at the white's piece, he's got a rook on c3, he's got that horrible bishop on d3. How are they going to be able to help him in the attack? So white's not going to be able to get more attackers than I've got defenders, I'm thinking. Or I'm hoping anyway. So f4, I'm quite happy with that move. I think that's all right. Okay, now white obviously keeps his attack going. He plays knight g5 with a subtle threat of mate in 1. So what are we going to do about that, Oliver?
Maybe queen e7.
Could do queen e7. The only trouble is as well as threatening queen h7 mate, he's sort of threatening knight to come in like really good square on e6, which might worry us. So Luke chose instead knight f6. So if the knight does go into e6, the bishop can just sap it off. And we've got rid of his good knight. Okay, so we've stymied the threat of mate. White decides now to play bishop e2. So he's possibly clearing the line, thinking maybe his rook might be able to come across at some stage to help in the attack. All right, what are we going to do, Oliver? He's trying to get more people across to attack us.
We could do... Wait, no, that wouldn't be good.
So the general principle of it is he's attacking, he's bringing his pieces across to attack us, we bring defenders across to defend. Try and get more defenders. So what's a good defender we could bring across?
The bishop or the queen?
Yeah, which do you like?
The queen is defensive, but all you really need to do is go to e7 and then it's safe. So you really need to get your bishop out first.
So where would you put the bishop though?
I was thinking of g4, but then I noticed that the bishop could take, then knight takes, and then queen just moves up straight away.
Yeah, so we'd lose terribly,
yeah.
So you could go to b7, but is that helping us defend that bishop if it's on b7?
No.
Not really. All right, so let's move the queen. Queen e7. So now we've got double protection on that h pawn. So that looks pretty safe. Now, white, as I said, has probably only got one crack plan where he plays his chess. He likes to attack, even whether it's not perhaps appropriate. So in this position, he's going for it. He's playing h4. Now, what's his idea there? What do you think?
I think he's trying to get rid of the g6 pawn so he can attack the knight and make it weak, so he can easily take on h7.
Yeah, well, his next move is going to be h5, and he's trying to get his rook into the attack. So if he can get rid of that pawn, he'll have the queen and the rook lined up there as well, and that looks pretty threatening. All right, now, but as it turns out, h4 is a blunder. And if we've got our wits about us, we can find a really good move here for black. This is the key move of the game, so everyone put your thinking cap on. What would you play as black to try and stymie the attack? He's threatening h5 and viciously attacking us with his queen and his knight and his rook and his pawn. Everyone's thinking hard. Now Thomas is saying bishop g4. Maha's looking at knight h5. Joey says knight or bishop g4, preserving his options. Callum likes bishop g4. Sam likes knight g4. Liam's going bishop g4. Bridges is going bishop h5, which is illegal because it's black's move, Bridges. Oliver, you got the idea? A lot of people are putting something on g4. Daniel's going bishop g4. Oh, Oliver's gone offline on it. All right, I'll move on to someone else. I'll give Daniel another go. Can you hear me this time, Daniel? Say something, Daniel.
Yes.
Yes, good. What happened last time? Your microphone went off or something.
I can't hear. Yeah.
I
don't know.
All right. Okay, bad connection. All right, sorry, Daniel. All right, what about Callum? We'll try Callum. You there, Callum?
Yes.
All right, you like bishop g4, do you?
Yep.
All right, why do you like that one?
Because if you take back with the bishop, you can go knight takes g4, and then you
You trap the
Trap his
queen.
queen. Yep, good idea. What if he just goes, or what could he do? Whether he goes h5, that might cost him material. He might go knight e6. Doesn't look like a bad move, but no one's found the best move yet. Now, let's work our way through it. h4 has changed the position, and white has a little bit of a problem. If black's a wake up, he can see what white's problem is. You nearly mentioned it a second ago, Alan. So what is white's problem here? That h4 wasn't the problem for him with the pawn on h2.
Could he trap this queen in?
He's trapped his queen. He's trapped his queen. That's right. His queen has no squares to move. But if we are trying to attack it like knight g4, he can take us. So we need a clever idea. Can we sort of apply pressure to his queen and maybe trap it?
Maybe.
You can type in the question, see if you can beat Callum. But I'm thinking hard about how we could trap that queen. Bridgesh has got it. Well done. Derek's got it. Any idea, Callum?
Not yet.
All right. The answer is king h8. So now we've got the threat knight g8, and the queen is trapped. Not knight g4 because he takes us. Knight g8. So what a clever move. And poor old White's sitting there thinking, oh my God, how can I get my queen out? So he decides the only way he can get his queen out is to move his knight back to h3, so the queen can go back to g5. But now we've got a pretty good move. What can we do now, Callum?
Knight g8.
We could go knight g8, but then he goes queen g5, and he's escaped.
Wouldn't you take a look? Oh, the knight plays back.
But the knight is no longer on g5 doing something. It's gone back, so now we can do a really good move. Look at all checks and captures.
Bishop takes knight.
Maybe, but he just takes with the rook. No one sees it yet?
Knight takes the pawn on e4.
Knight takes the pawn. That's it. It's a free pawn right in the middle of the board, and we're attacking his rook. So poor old White has had to give up his centre pawn just to save his queen. So the game is virtually over now, hopefully, unless we make a mistake. So White goes rook b3. All right, so now we've got a one game, so long as we don't blunder. So what should Black do here? What would be a good move, do you reckon, Colour? White's still trying to attack us, so we want to kill off all his attacking chances.
Bishop takes the knight.
We could take the knight. Another idea? Give me another idea. When you're up, what do you do?
Trade.
Trade. Yep. What piece was the most important piece we'd like to trade of his?
Queen.
Yep. Because then he can't mate us and attack us. So how can we do that?
Queen g7.
Yes, exactly right. Queen g7. So now he has to swap. He's got no choice. So we recapture with our king going to a better square. All right, so now the danger of the attack looks pretty much over, and we're a pawn ahead. So let's just see how we can finish him off. Okay, so he keeps trying to attack. He plays h5. Right, what would you like to do now, Callum?
Maybe take the knight now?
Yeah, let's take the knight. So we'll swap off another piece. Now we've let in double rooks, but now we're going to hopefully end up with a good knight against a lousy bishop that's going to be on the same colour as his pawns. Now he's threatening to take on g6 and his rooks get in. So we have one good defensive move. What can we do now?
G5?
Could do g5, but not g5. He chose a different one.
Knight g5?
Knight back to f6. So that covers the h7 square. I suppose g5 wouldn't have been too bad. All right, so he goes trade the pawns. And now he goes pawn to f3. So what do you think about that? He's put another pawn on the same colour as his bishop.
A blunder.
Yeah, it's probably not the greatest move, but maybe he's trying to set up a blockade or something. All right, so we'll go rook across. So same idea, we're ahead. We're even one pawn ahead. Our position is so good with a good knife. We're going to flip off those rooks and we should win. He puts his bishop on d3 to put it on a better spot. All right, what are you going to do now, Callum?
Trade rooks.
Trade rooks, all right. So we've got one pair of rooks off. What would you like to do?
And try and trade the other rooks off.
Be careful, be careful. You'd probably like to trade the other rooks off, but what happens if we play rook h8?
He takes.
Yeah, we take back, and then...
Oh, the bishop takes the pawn on g6.
Yeah, we lose our pawn on g6, so we can't do rook h8. So what can we do instead? His rook can't get in, his bishop can't get in, we're looking pretty cozy.
Knight could get in there.
So that pawn on g6 was the problem, because we can't swap rooks there. So what could we do?
Blockade the bishop.
No, let's move the g pawn up to g5, so now we can play rook h8 next move. And we've got all our pawns on black squares now. All right. So poor old white's sitting there thinking, I'm a pawn down with a rotten position. What can I do? Any ideas if you were white? What would you do, Callum? How could we have a little try to get a draw?
G4.
Yes, g4. Our best chance probably is if we can get a blockade. Even though we've got no control of the black squares, we've got pretty good control of the white squares. So even if we swap rooks, maybe I can set up a blockade. Like if black went rook h8 now, we could swap, maybe sit our bishop on e4, and whether black's king can get in. I don't know, it might be a total blockade. Right, so black needs to put his thinking cap on a little bit. You want to say something? No? All right.
Well, the king could march down to the A rank.
Yeah, they'd have to try and get in on the queen side, so I'd have to try and sort of set up a blockade there as well. Not sure whether it would work, but we don't want to give him any chances. Right, so let's put on our thinking cap. We want to play a nice, safe game that doesn't give him any chances for a blockade or a draw. Everyone, black plays a pretty good move here. Type in what you play if you were black. Black to play. What's the best move? Do we take him en passant? Remember the en passant rule? Joey's saying maybe en passant. Do we not take him en passant or do something else? Liam wants to go rook h8 anyway. Probably going to get in. Bridges is looking at b5, which would be a problem because when I take it and you take on d5, Bridges, I'm going to play bishop e4, pinning your knight against your rook. Daniel likes rook b8. Callum likes a5. Callum, you play a5, I play a4. Then I've blockaded the queen side as well. Maha likes rook h8. Joey's looking at rook h8. Any other ideas, Callum? This is a pretty good move. No one's come up with it yet.
B5?
No, not b5. Because if let's go back. So if b5, I take, you take on d5, I pin you. Then you're in strife. Right, so not b5. We're just trying a6. Think breakthrough, guys. How can you get a breakthrough? Get your rook into the game. Get some passed pawns going.
E6?
E6.
A4.
E4. Derek beat you by a millisecond. Yes. Well done to Derek. E4. Okay. Now, we're sacrificing, but we get our pawn back. Should we take with the bishop or the pawn, do you think, Callum? What would be better?
Bishop.
Why do you choose bishop?
Because then the bishop could finally get out.
Yeah, well, bishop takes, so black could pin it, and white could unpin, and then black has to give up his good knight for that lousy bishop. So black's a pawn ahead with a really nice position, and black should win comfortably, but it's only one extra pawn. But instead, white made a bit of a boo-boo. He took with the F pawn. All right, what can we do now? I'll give you guys a choice. We could either take the E pawn and end up like the line we just had, or we could maybe take the G pawn, or we could play Rook E8. Which move do you guys like? Choice of three: knight takes E4, Rook E8, or knight takes G4. So Bridges and Derek are both going with the G4 one. Maha likes Rook E8. Derek's changed his mind and he's now going for the E4 one. That's cheating. Not allowed to have two goes, Derek. Oliver's liking knight G4. Liam likes knight E4. Right, Callum, your choice. Which one do you like?
Rook E8.
Why do you like Rook E8?
Because then that forces pressure on the one pawn, so some other piece has to come and protect it, and then you would be up by 2 pawns. Then one.
Yeah, well, we're going to win one of the pawns. We're either going to win the E pawn or the G pawn. That's the question. Which one do we want to win? So we looked at the line before we won the E pawn, and we ended up with one extra pawn, the pass pawn on F4. But the best move, which some of you got, is let's take the G pawn. Now that means we've got not one pass pawn, we've got 2 pass pawns. All right. Even better than that, what else have we got, Callum, with our knight on G4, apart from our 2 pass pawns? Is there something else we've got?
We've got a good knight and bad bishop.
All right. Where are we going to put the knight?
E5.
Yes, we've got this killer square. Oh, I've got the wrong thing again. This killer square, E5, where the knight is just dominating the whole board and will support our 2 pass pawns and is attacking the bishop, attacking the C pawn. So it's a fantastic spot for the knight. So in the other line we had where we put the E pawn, we ended up having to swap our knight for the bishop. And we're not going to give up our good knight for the bishop. So it went knight G4, bishop E2 attacking the knight. Knight goes to the lovely spot E5, B3 to defend the pawn, and then Luke just decided to swap off rooks to kill all counterplay. Takes, King F2 and G4, and white decided he'd had enough. But he just 2 pawns down for nothing with a killer knight. And it's very poetic. See how good that knight is compared with white's rotten bishop, which is nowhere to go and is just bumping into its own pawns. All right. You understand that game then, Callum, about the bishop and the pawns?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty thematic game because we had 2 players. One player understood about not putting the pawns on the same colour as the bishop, and the other guy, all he understood about was he's got to try to attack, and it didn't really work, so he got crushed. All right, so I hope that's been a good lesson for you guys, and I'm looking forward to our lesson next week. I'm not sure whether David will have a student for me or I'll have a game and we'll go through the students in the class one at a time and give you each a bit of a go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson, and I look forward to catching you all next week. Thanks and good night.